for Dak to function at this point. That's not great. Here's more from the head coach.
He's as tough as they come. His physical toughness and mental toughness are on par with anybody I've been around, and that's just what he's all about. He handles success, he handles adversity, he handles issues as well as anybody.
Yeah, Dak's going to play. I think he's just resting up, getting to make sure everything is as right as it can be by game time. Dealt with some AC joints, and they're tough. I couldn't imagine having to throw with it. So, but I know Dak, I know his toughness. I know he'll play.
Coach, how concerned are you about that shoulder? Do you think it'll affect his play on Sunday?
We talk all the time about quarterbacks and what they're going to become and who they are. And these are the moments that from a coaching staff perspective and from an organizational perspective, you're looking at a guy to see how they respond. The first time they really have to deal with an injury that could affect their ability to perform and how well they deal with that pain. And from listening to people who are in the building and even the comments that you hear from Jason, he has an inherent toughness. And I think he'll be able to overcome the pain that's associated with it. And look, he'll get some medicine from the doctors, too, to help him overcome the pain that's associated with it. It's funny that Zeke talking about he couldn't imagine throwing with that injury. Well, yeah, because ideally he gets the ball that many more times, a little bit of lobbying there.
Right.
But I think he'll do well considering, how painful the injury is and the other injuries he's dealing with. It's a little bit funny that he got hurt running a quarterback-driven run. Not funny, but, there's all we talk about is Lamar and the quarterback-driven runs and how the game is changing. And here, this is what he gets hurt on, a quarterback-driven run going into the most important game of the season. So you can keep those.
Right. And that is, and by the way, that is something that at least I have said, I can't remember quite your take on it, was that the Cowboys should consider incorporating more in the other red zone.
They listen to you.
They listen to me and he gets hurt.
Now he's got an AC joint. Good job, Nick.
But let me ask you this real quick, though, because the other news that came out of this was, I guess it wasn't news, but it was just a fact I didn't know, was that not only has Dak never missed, we knew he hadn't missed a game, he's never missed a practice, and this is the first time he's ever even been limited in practice. He's ever been listed on the injury report as anything other than a full participant. This is the end of his 4th year. You've obviously coached teams and been around a bunch of teams. How rare is that? I was wildly impressed by that he has gone this long in the league without ever having to be listed on the injury report as being limited in practice.
It's rare. But sometimes you can look at something like that and think that guy has a special regimen or he has some secret to not get injured. And I don't think it's as scientific as that. Sometimes it's just a function of
good luck,
of being lucky. And I've been to programs where they talk about how great their medical department is and their weightlifting or their strength conditioning department, and then the next year there's a boatload of injuries. So he's been incredibly fortunate to have the health that he's had.
It actually is fascinating. I mean, we went around about Lamar. We've talked off air about Lamar, but the guys that last longest. I mean, Phillip Rivers has never missed a start. Torn ACL, never missed a start. Eli Manning only missed a start because they put Geno Smith in, a couple years ago, right? The guys that stand tall in that pocket. Yeah, Tom Brady tore his ACL when somebody rolled up on him, but outside of that, doesn't miss a start, except for when he was suspended a couple years ago. He missed 4, right?
But Russell Wilson's on that list as well.
No, I know.
And Russell Wilson runs around a bunch.
He does, but is he the exception?
I think he is. Absolutely, I think he's the exception.
And though he runs it, he ran it a bunch his first 3 years. Now he just moves to throw.
He runs it way less.
He runs it way less, but I also think sometimes this stuff is, sometimes it is about the durability of the player in that Cam Newton, prior to last season, had missed 3 games in his entire NFL career and was the most running quarterback we had seen since Michael Vick. And so some guys can withstand the punishment at least for a 6 to 8 year period, how much that's going to affect Cam moving forward. But on Dak for this football game, here's to me, Coach, the silver lining. I think the way to beat the Eagles, if they're going to beat the Eagles, is the way they won last week against the Rams. Run the damn football. Give Zeke as many carries as possible when Zeke, you're 5-0 against the Eagles when Zeke plays. He's averaged 165 yards from scrimmage. He's coming off his best game of the season. Tony Pollard's coming off the best game of his career because the Rams had showed no resistance whatsoever. Pro Bowl rosters just came out. Even if you want to throw those out, you got 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen. See if Philadelphia can stop the running game to where you don't need Dak to drop back more than 25 times.
But what if the Eagles been really good at the whole year?
Stopping the run.
Stopping the run.
Defensive backfield's the weakness of their
yeah, so it may be your strength, but you're going to go against their greatest strength. And if they think that Dak can't throw, they're going to just load the box up. And then you can also incorporate run pressures that help disrupt the running game as well. If you don't back those guys off some, as good as Zeke has played against them, it's hard. It's going to be hard to find spots.
I also think it's a big challenge for Kellen Moore. Here you have a rookie play caller, right? And I thought early in the year he got a little too cute. This is not a game to get cute.
Well, it was easy to get cute. The first 3 games of the season for Dallas, Dak looked like a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Looked incredible. They were like, let's take this out and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, but now you're on the road in Philadelphia. You don't want to get cute, right? And yes, you know, on paper, sitting here in a studio in New York, you want to run the football. But as Coach points out, they load the box, and the defense determines you should throw the ball. You got to make the right adjustments. You know, the big thing is, you know, everybody wants to do the jet motion. Everybody wants to have all the bells and whistles. You're the Cowboys. You have better players. Identify where the mismatch is and attack that spot. Correct?
Well, we don't know if they really have better players. Everybody has projected that they have better players. They haven't played like they have better players. And to get back to the play calling, you know, you want to incorporate these quarterback-driven runs, and it's worked for other people. And here you are, you know, your guy gets hurt on one of them. That, to me, is disappointing.
Nick, Dak only has a couple more games where he can prove whether or not he deserves this big contract that's sort of been hanging over the Cowboys' head all season. Is this one of those games where we're going to see whether he actually earns the big money?
I believe he has gotten the money. Like, he hasn't actually gotten it, but he's going to get it. There is, barring a career-ending injury, God forbid, he is going to get a massive contract this offseason. And I think that the Cowboys, it's probably, if they have decided they're going to do it, it is in their, win or lose this weekend, it's in their interest to do it quickly. Because what you already let Wentz and Goff get their new deals while you and Dak were going back and forth. And if you look at the numbers, Dak's obviously been better than Wentz and Goff this season by a considerable margin. If you let Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, even if you throw Mahomes out because they can say Mahomes flatly better. He's been further in the playoffs, he's won an MVP. Deshaun Watson, they can't say any of those things about. If I'm Dak's agent and Deshaun's going to get more money than Goff or Wentz, I say, why shouldn't I get Deshaun Watson money? He's already going to get Jared Goff money, which is 4 for 134 with 110 guaranteed. I don't think it's predicated on if they win this football game or not.
But all people talk about on shows is how disappointing it is that Wentz and Goff got contracts.
Yes.
So now you're going to rush to give another guy a contract that you're not sure on? To me, these are the types of games that do help you become sure on a player. Because how do they play through adversity? And we talk about how do they play in pressure with the playoffs. How do they play through adversity? What kind of personal performance they have? What type of toughness do they show? And it's not just going to be this week. It's going to be next week. And these injuries aren't going to be fully healed by the time they get to the playoffs, assuming that they win. There's a lot of questions that still have to be answered. He bet on himself, and right now they're a mediocre team. And people are regretting the Goff contract and the Wentz contract. So as a owner and as a organization, you have to say, am I heading down that same path? Or am I making a good decision? This is the guy that's going to lead us.
I think it's a great point. It's a lot like when Darrelle Revis wanted to be the highest paid cornerback, and the Jets said he's the best cornerback on earth, right? You drafted him, you know. And it was after, and Rex Ryan's the coach. And he said, all right, I want Nnamdi Asomugha money. Nnamdi Asomugha was a terrible deal for the Raiders. Why do you want to copy a terrible deal? Why do you want to copy the Jared Goff deal, which we all know is a weight that's bringing down the Rams now, like the Gurley contract. It's going to be even worse in the future. And I think that the Cowboys had to be cognizant of it. The argument for Dak has been this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is
he wins.
He wins.
Yeah.
And if you want to tell me that with a roster that Jerry believes is a Super Bowl roster, he can't beat the Eagles, who are decimated by injuries and can't win this division this year, that argument kind of leaves the room.
I agree with everything. He's still going to get paid. And this is why I said to you yesterday off the air that I think you should, if I owned an NFL team, I'd hire you to be my general manager. I think you're smart about this. I think you have a clear head about this. I do not think we are yet to see an NFL team have a quarterback succeed to the level Dak has and have their contract come up and not give him the market-setting deal.
New England Patriots.
What do you mean?
They don't always give Tom Brady the market-setting deal.
But they did the first.
They pay him